take you on a plane ride around the South Shore in a small airplane with aerial photographer Margot Cheel of Cohasset. Sea, sand, and sky. This is the work of aerial photographer Margot Cheel of Cohasset. Margot used to own an art gallery, and she's taken photographs for years, but it wasn't until she started flying that she really came into her own as an artist.
I started flying not at a very young age at all, but I started flying when my two daughters went off to college. And I was interested in doing something new, doing something different. It was my time to fly the coop, if you will. I did. I went down to the Marshfield Airport and I took up an introductory flight. And I had a wonderful, very enthusiastic instructor. At the same time, I'd been involved in the arts for many, many years, and I had recently been onto photography. So when I started flying, I then went up one day with a camera, and I was amazed at the results. So from there, I really got hooked.
Margot exhibits her work in galleries and gift shops around the South Shore and on Cape Cod. And now she has a new book that's just filled with luscious photographs that will brighten any home. So you decided to do a book?
I decided to do a book. And what I wanted to do also was to really give the person who would be reading this a sense of the thrill of flight and the beauty that pilots see below them. This particular photograph is in the elbow of Cape Cod, and this is Orleans. And see these three little white specks? Those are three fishing boats that are making their way home to Rock Harbor, which is right in here. One time I was trying to make a photo of a lighthouse that was in the middle of dunes down on the Cape. And we circled and circled, and it just wasn't working. And then alongside, there's a channel, and this sailboat came out along the channel. And I saw it coming, and I turned around and I was about to give up on the lighthouse, and I took two shots of the sailboat going through the channel. And that was one spectacular photo that I've sold many, many times.
Absolutely stunning. Now, some of these, you wouldn't even know, like this one, for instance, you wouldn't even know what you were looking at.
When I began, most of my work was the commissions for particular people's homes, and it would be what you might call the record of the landscape. A particular home, a particular harbor, a particular place. But then, as I was flying, I would often see these different kinds of shapes and patterns, and this would be in a river that would be winding through the landscape. It would be the ocean and the way the sun sparkled on the water. It would be low tide, where there would be patterns that you never saw again, that might look like a tree.
Wow, look at this. You get a totally different perspective on the flow of a river. Where is that?
And that's the North River.
Now, it's interesting. I have kayaked this river many times from up at the Scituate end, and we kayak out to the Spit, and it's so interesting to see it from this perspective.
I know, I want to take you away. Come fly with me.
So we're here today at the Marshfield Airport. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're going to go up in a little plane with Margot, and she's going to take us on a ride around the South Shore. We'll look at the coastline. Maybe we'll still see some beautiful fall foliage, and we'll get some great shots of Hingham, and we're going to talk to Margot.
Today I'm going out to do a flight and going out onto the tarmac to the plane. And once I'm out there, I'll be doing a pre-flight check that everything is in order. This is a single engine plane which can carry 3 passengers plus the pilot. I'm checking the oil level. And it's good.
Margot explained that once she checks the outside of the plane, there's an extensive checklist that involves all of the instruments in the cockpit.
One of the main things you do after you've checked all the instruments, before you started the engine, is you yell clear, which is to notify people that I'm turning the engine on.
for Joe. The plane's all ready?
We made the turn onto the runway, and then we were ready for takeoff.
Ready? Gorgeous day. Yeah.
When the plane rolls down that runway and then it gathers speed and lift, and then you've left the earth and you're flying into the sky, that is a very exciting moment. I brought a co-pilot today because I also will be taking photographs. And when I do, he, as the other pilot, will take over the flight.
We flew out over the coastline and headed north, passing Marshfield and the cliffs of Scituate, the mouth of the North River, and then we got to Scituate Harbor. Everything looks so different from this vantage point.
It's a little hazy today. We're flying over Hingham, which is in Boston airspace, but Boston did give us permission to fly into the area for a few minutes to do these photographs. You can see some of the islands in the distance heading towards Boston Harbor. And also, there's Hull in the distance and Hingham High School. Now we're approaching World's End, and the light has a lot of reflection at the moment, but as we make the turn, then we'll have the light working in our favor behind us. We're moving in, and this is Hingham Harbor coming into where the town is. You can see the Lincoln Sailing Center. You can see the channel. Something really just from above.
It was a sunny day that day, but when we got up in the air, as Margot says, we saw that it was quite hazy. I was amazed, though, at the beautiful shots Margot was able to capture. Some great shots of Scituate, and when we got to Hingham, some beautiful pictures of the harbor, of World's End, the fall foliage. As we continued the flight and she took more photos, we could see the areas in Hingham Harbor that have been dredged, where the boats are kept. There were shots of Derby Academy. More shots of the harbor. You can see the fruit center in bright orange there on the right side of this photo. You can really see what a beautiful place we live in.
Coming into land is the most important part of flying, and you need to slow down the plane. You need to pay attention to where you are and where your altitude is and where the wind is. And it takes concentration, but it's also very exciting. When your wheels touch that ground, it feels so good.
That
was fun.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, people usually do.
You can get prints, framed or unframed, of Margot's work at her website at margotcheel.com and in galleries and gift shops around the South Shore and on Cape Cod. The book is also available at margotcheel.com.